A steam canner is a useful tool for home canning, especially when dealing with high-acid foods such as fruits, pickles, jams, and tomatoes. It's a more energy-efficient and faster alternative to water bath canning. Today we'll be canning tomato sauce. For this project, you will need a steam canner, canning jars with bands and new lids, a jar lifter, a funnel, a ladle, and a clean cloth or paper towel. Also, you'll need tomatoes. Tomatoes are important when making tomato sauce. The first thing you will need to do is to prepare your jars and lids. Wash and rinse well the canning jars, lids, and bands in hot soapy water. If you run them through the dishwasher immediately before filling them, they will be hot, which is what you want. Otherwise, heat your jars in a pot of simmering water until you get them filled. I'm using my Weston tomato press to separate the seeds and skins from the tomato juice. This is my first year of using the tomato press and I love it. It makes producing tomato sauce so easy. I picked, washed, cored, and froze these tomatoes a couple of weeks ago, and they are the last of this year's harvest. I don't have many, but I should have enough for a couple of jars of sauce. Now that the tomatoes are thawed, they will easily go through the tomato press. By running the skins and seeds through 2 more times, I get every drop of juice out. Then I transfer the tomato juice into a large pot and bring it to a boil. My goal is to produce a thick tomato sauce, which means I'm going to have to reduce the liquid by at least half. We'll come back when that's done. By the way, welcome to the old Mayfield place. I'm Snow the farmer's wife, and I teach you to be more self-sufficient in so many ways, such as growing your own food, using herbal medicine, and preserving food for long-term storage. Once the tomato sauce is just about ready, put a couple of inches of water into your steam canner, put the lid on, and turn the heat to medium to get the water hot. You just want the water hot at this point, not boiling. Now it's time to fill the jars. I'm not making this sauce into any specific sauce yet, such as pizza sauce or marinara. I have no idea what I'm going to want for supper in 3 months, but I can turn plain sauce into whatever I want when the time comes. I think I have enough sauce for 3 or 4 jars, but I may be a bit optimistic. We'll see. Even though tomatoes are a high-acid food, to ensure the acid is at the correct level, I still need to add either lemon juice or citric acid. I'm canning pints today, so I'll be adding a 1/4 teaspoon of citric acid to each jar. Quarts would require a 1/2 teaspoon. If you choose to use lemon juice, you will need 1 tablespoon per pint or 2 tablespoons per quart. I'm not adding any salt at this point, but if you want to, you can add up to a 1/2 teaspoon per pint or 1 teaspoon per quart. Salt doesn't have anything to do with preserving your food, only adding flavor. I like to add the salt when I'm making supper. After you have the citric acid or lemon juice in each jar, it's time to fill the jars. Use a canning funnel to fill the hot sterilized jars with the tomato sauce, leaving about a 1/2 inch of headspace. Wipe the jar rims with a clean damp cloth or a paper towel to ensure a clean seal. Place a new lid on each jar. Never reuse lids that were designed for single use. Then screw on the bands to finger tight. Don't over-tighten. Once you have all the jars ready, carefully place the filled jars onto the canner's rack with your jar lifter. Yes, I overestimated and I only have 2 full pints to process. This half-filled jar will go into the refrigerator after it cools and we'll be having pizza in the next few days. I'm sure that will break the farmer's heart. 2-gallon bags of tomatoes produce 2 pints of sauce. It takes a lot of tomatoes to make tomato sauce. Put the lid on the steam canner and turn up the heat to bring the water to a gentle boil. Once the water is boiling and steam is escaping from the steam vent and around the edges of the lid, start your timer for 10 minutes. This time is not part of the 35 minutes of processing time. This 10 minutes is to fill the canner with steam. You must get the steamer filled with steam and all the air pushed out, kind of like you do with pressure canning. But this isn't pressure canning, and this process should not be used for low-acid foods. Stay safe, high-acid foods only. Once 10 minutes have passed, set your timer for another 35 minutes to process the pint jars of tomato sauce. If you are canning quart jars, you will need to process for 40 minutes. You will have to adjust for your altitude if you live above 1,000 feet above sea level. Maintain a steady, gentle steam flow throughout the process time. When the processing time is done, turn off the heat and wait at least 5 minutes before removing the lid. Be careful to turn the lid away from your face when you open the canner to prevent getting burned. You may also wish to wear an oven mitt to protect your wrist from the steam. I wish I had. Using a jar lifter, carefully lift the hot jars out of the canner and place them on a clean towel or cooling rack. Allow the jars to cool undisturbed for 12 to 24 hours. After cooling, check each jar to make sure you have a good seal. You can do this by pressing down in the center of each lid. If it doesn't flex or make a popping sound, the jar is sealed. Any unsealed jars can be reprocessed with a new lid immediately or refrigerated and consumed within a few days. Don't forget to label each sealed jar with the date and contents. Store the jars in a cool, dark, and dry place. While canned food will start to lose its nutritional value after about a year, as long as the seal is intact, the food is safe to eat. These steps should help you successfully steam can your tomato sauce for long-term preservation. Always use trusted canning recipes and guidelines to ensure food safety. Thank you for stopping by the old Mayfield place today. Stay healthy, get that tomato sauce canned, and have a blessed week.